Hi all. I want to go over with you a key game which altered my chess thinking quite significantly. Up until this game I was really, still in this frame of mind to play for stereotypical type attacks where I build up pressure, trying to get an advantage by sort of King's Indian style attacks. So you sort of build up pressure behind your pawn structure and then achieve a pawn break, and hopefully your attack is going to be successful. But my play in general had been quite stereotypical for a number of years. I was content with that style of play, and I think there was a big turning point for me at the Southend tournament of 2006. I'd worked very hard to be, as resourceful as possible in all the games. This game was particularly exhausting and disheartening. I really did feel as though I was strategically crushed, and so I gained much more interest in trying to play more positionally after this game, and sort of revamp my style to be more flexible, to be more in demands with pawn structure, etc., and the needs of the position. So I'll show you what happened, which made it so dramatic that I actually literally tried to change my style of play as a result of this game. So knight c3 d5. There was an element of psychology as well added to this. So my opponent was an international master, Simon Knott, who's one of the strongest in the Hearts League. And I tried to surprise him with a very silly idea, actually, which was the subject of much amusement for my friend Alex and me for weeks. I played a very surprise move here. I wonder if you can guess it. It was quite a novelty, really. I think it's one of the only games in this variation that you'll find in the chess database. Okay, if I give you 5 seconds, what absurd move could you play here? Right, I thought it would be clever to play knight a4. It reminded me of some innovation that Pigott played, but it was in a completely different position. Similar characteristics, I suppose, generally, but different position. Here, black is just already sort of better after this move, so this is not exactly great Groomfield line. Black plays e5. After e4, I've just given myself a reverse Boleslavsky hole, in effect, on d4, and he exploits this just slowly. He plays knight f4. And I'm already in quite a bit of trouble. Like d4 to try and liberate, he's got bishop b4 check, and then just taking on d4. So I'm already sort of bound with d4, and I think this is what made it strategically, dramatic, this game. That the pawn structure pressure, the reduction of counterplay is dramatized by this, horrific way of playing with the white pieces. But it did, change my style of play after in a very fundamental way. So I played d3, plays check. So if I don't really want to lose my dark squared bishop, because then this knight will remain. So I did lose time to just play knight c3. Now knight c6, and he's tightening the grip on d4. So he's got a beautiful position to have with black against a sort of reverse Boleslavsky hole structure with this hole on d4. And this is what makes it dramatic, strategically. So bishop takes, e takes, and now I play knight g4, knight ge2. So he plays bishop g4. I try and wriggle out of things now, and to an extent, in terms of not losing material, I am successful in wriggling. So I play queen d2, but he just takes on e2, and he dents my control of d4 and e5. And it's interesting because he he's almost able to just sit on the position with these two squares now, d4 and e5. So I move the bishop anyway to d1. He plays queen h4, so he's discouraging me from casting kingside. So I thought I'd try and reserve casting for the moment. So I played knight e2 to try and get rid of this monstrous knight. He took on e2 simply. I slipped in the check because I thought this might be handy. He plays c6. And you would have thought the worst is over because I've got rid of the monstrous knight now after queen e2. But he's still got a powerful bind pardon me, potentially on these two squares. And he emphasises that now with this simple positional move, bishop e5. So instead of the routine castling, well, castling comes now. So he's still stopping d4. And the dark square bind can't be lifted. I try to with g3, but he just plays queen f6. And he's actually strengthened now, as well as keeping protection of f4 with the queen. He's also still on d4. So I'm in a really passive position, and I'm protecting b2 now because his last threat also was attacking b2. And now he simply doubles rooks. And I just thought during the game, you know, I just really don't like being sat on for hours and hours trying to find resources. It's like hopeless. And it occurred to me that you know, maybe that is the nature of being strategically crushed, that it doesn't really matter that what, you know, your resources have been very limited and you're just grovelling. So that's when you're on the receiving end of such a, you know, a bind, a strategic crush, what I call. And this was just a very dramatic example. So King b1, and now with his strategic trump cards, so the bind on d4, the dark square grip generally, you know, the doubled rooks against d3. He now goes in for a beautiful attack. He starts to try and rip open the lines against my king. So he plays a5, and now king b8, preparing, you know, to be able to use, you know, c5 and c4 if necessary. But first a4, putting a bind on the light squares now as well, and restraining my pawn structure here. So the strategic crush is continuing. And now, you know, he's coming in for the attack with b5 and now b4. And there's a beautiful also latent pin now on this b2. He's putting immediate pressure on a3. So I take, he takes, and I play rook c4. And he does slip up a little bit soon, but I don't take the opportunity to have you know, the potential for a draw, which I might have had in this game. So takes, and here it is, queen d6. In post-mortem and with Rybka later, I found that I should have just taken and played c5, because I'm winning this pawn, and this pawn's probably going to drop. And when it does, it will have opposite colour bishop ending, an opposite colour bishop ending. So that was the best chance. Instead, I tried to go for some sort of perpetual on his king, and that was misguided completely, because after queen a5, he just plays a3. So I know he made, you know, a technical slip up, but earlier it's just this being sat on, you know, strategically. It affected me beyond this game to literally change my style of play. The checks run out. That's the problem with them. And once they run out, his king's safe. After bishop b1, bishop b1, he just plays queen b4, and I resign. Here, my king's getting it. So the game doesn't look like much. It looks as though, you know, white played it. But the significance of it is, for me, is that the pawn structure was very clear. I think the Bolzewski whole structure, you know, has a definite strategic clear weakness.